Hey guys, it's Little Poe. So, I don't think I'm going to be doing any kind of, extravagant intro for this video. I think today I'm going to be covering a more serious topic. Let's see. Trying to figure out how to start this, but, I guess I'll start with, basically, it's come to my attention that a lot of you are, I feel like just this past month or so, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like just a lot of shit has been going on. Like, whether it's for you guys, whether it's just, the world, or just, I don't know, I just feel like it's been a little bit of a moment of depression for everybody, and I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it. I've had a lot of you have been coming to me lately through my DMs and Instagram, and you guys have been expressing to me, just, you guys have been suffering. And it absolutely breaks my heart because, a lot of you, I don't know what breaks my heart more, the fact that there's so many of you that seem to be going through a hard time right now, whether it's with family or just whatever personal struggles you have going on. It's that you guys are going through those hard times, or the fact that you guys are so apologetic when you do decide to come to me, because I've had quite a few of you come to me, just seeking advice, anything, reassurance, something, to help you get through that day, and, it breaks my heart that you guys would feel apologetic, for even, wanting to come and express yourself like that. So, it's just, sorry if it's sweaty, it's so hot in here and I don't want to turn the fan on or anything, but, I don't know, I guess I just wanted to sit down and kind of talk about that for a little bit, because you guys aren't the only one, any of you that are going through these things, you're not the only one, you're not alone, and, I know it might feel like you're the only person, but I just want to first and foremost put out there that I'm always here for you, no matter what. Don't ever feel like you're bugging me. Don't ever feel like you're taking time out of my day, because I can't, express enough just how much I love that you guys are so, willing and wanting to come to me. That means so much to me. So if you guys are having a hard time, don't apologize. Don't be afraid to come to me, whatever it is. It can be as minuscule in your opinion or as large. I don't fucking care. If you guys want to talk, I'm always here. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So I guess I wanted to make this video mostly because I wanted to kind of maybe talk a little bit about my struggles. As far as depression goes, anxiety, I'll talk. I don't know how long this video will be. I apologize ahead of time if this does become quite a long video. I think I'll just go ahead and maybe I'll open up a little bit. I'll express, I don't think I'm gonna go into every single detail, because I feel like then this video would end up being a long video, but I'll definitely, I'm going to touch base on a little bit about my history, a little bit about me, and maybe if you guys can relate to it, then you'll kind of have a better understanding as to why you're feeling this way, why you're going through this. But, let's see, I'll just go through some, I guess, main key milestones of my life that have kind of helped me become who I am today, because essentially you do think whatever it is you're going through sucks, and trust me, I'm sure it does suck, but I promise you, you're going to make it. You're going to make it through this, and you're going to be such a bigger, stronger, better person. But, so let's just go down the list. So my first run-in with depression was probably when I was about 7 or 8 years old. That's during the time of which my parents got a divorce. Now, I believe in my tattoos video, I briefly went over my tattoos in regards to my mom, so this one. And I kind of briefly touched up with some addiction issues she had. She was an alcoholic growing up, and I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty details of exactly how, what exactly went on, but there was a lot of neglect. There was a lot of things I had to witness as a child that no 7, no 8-year-old, nobody really should ever have to witness their parents, doing. There was just a lot of physical and emotional altercations that just, that really stick to you. Kids' minds, they're just like fucking sponges. They absorb anything and everything. And you might not be able to really, you might not even realize just how much of that crap that you absorbed until later. Like, there's some things that you might hold on to as a kid or however old, doesn't matter. And then years later, you wouldn't have even had known it was a problem until something maybe triggered it. It could be the smallest thing. The smallest thing in the world can trigger it, and it does, and it happens. But so there was a divorce. I know when the divorce was still kind of occurring, I was with my mom for this period of time for about a good 8 months to a year, in which I wasn't allowed visitations with my father and not even really phone calls. My mom was definitely, again, I say this with the utmost respect. I hate, talking like, oh, my mom did a lot of terrible shit, which reality she did, but, that's long since been forgiven. Things happen. Parents aren't perfect. I'm going to throw that out there as well. You have this expectation of your parents always having to know exactly what's going on, always just, they're your source of information in life and everything. So, of course, when you see your parents fuck up, that really is almost like very personal to you, because it's like, I trusted you, to save me, to take care of me. And, sometimes these things don't always happen. And, you have to realize that, your parents are just as human. Your parents fuck up. And, there are things that your parents look back on and, we're like, fuck, man, I really wish I could have done this differently. And I'm sure there are many cases, and there will be many cases for you, where your parents might come up to you later in life and be like, hey, look, I'm really sorry for all these things. And, my father, was an advocate of that. Granted, I was probably around 23, about 23, 24. I'm going to be 26 now, so it happens, and of course my dad and I were on good terms. We talk every once in a while, and, such is life, and you learn to move on from these things. Let's see. So yeah, my mother had some moments in which she did neglect me. She went going out and partying instead, and I really held on to a lot of that. So I required a little bit of therapy when I ended up moving back in with my dad. And, a lot of people think therapy, psychologists, psychiatrists, kind of a scary word, when you feel like you need to go to somebody else who think, it has nothing to do with being crazy. It has nothing to do with any of that. Learning someone else's perspective and way of being able to just understand life, that's kind of refreshing. When you feel a little bit lost and there's somebody that's able to kind of be like, reassure you, like, you're not lost. You're not alone. So, even if you feel like there's nobody in your life that you can talk to, consider maybe counselor, right? If you have school counselors, or, even if it's just like, or, like I said, if there are no other options of somebody you can talk to, holla at your girl. Fucking, I'm right here. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm no professional in that regards, but, just, it's always good to have a friend, no matter what. No matter what. But anyways, so on top of the divorce and the neglect that I suffered from my mom being an alcoholic, she also, I don't know if she had a prescription abusive problem or not. I do know that she was assigned many different types of medications from different kinds of doctors in regards to anxiety and just like, depression and that. And when I was 13, on top of her alcoholism that she was struggling with, there was a night where it's really hard to tell. I want to say that it was an accidental overdose because, just knowing my mom, I don't think that was it. I don't think it was a cop-out or anything like that. I think it was, one of those things. She was just having a rough night. She was drinking, and then, when you get intoxicated, it's maybe a little bit difficult to remember, oh, did I take my medication? So just on top of being intoxicated and on top of the medication, she just very peacefully went. And so that was probably my second run-in with depression, was when my mother passed. I was about 13 years old. February 4th, 2003, I want to say. Yeah. So there was that run-in. So that was a little bit of a struggle. I mean, not on top of that. I mean, for me, like, I don't know. I feel like I was pretty good as far as the mourning process of that goes. I feel like I didn't suffer as much as other people may have. But, granted, I didn't have the best relationship with my mom, so I guess that kind of goes hand in hand. I did suffer a lot of anger issues in regards to that, of which, I've long since forgiven my mother for all that, because, again, she's in such a better place. She was hurting. She had so many internal issues that she was struggling with, and, I imagine alcohol was her way of just being able to momentarily release from all of that. And you know what? As much as I would love to see her today, and as much as I would love her to, see me, what would she think of me being like this and whatnot, I'm sure wherever she is at, she's smiling down and she's proud. And it's really hard to just hold on to so much anger. That's so taxing. It's like so taxing to hold on to that amount of anger for so long, and you know what? It's not worth it. Because not only, it tears you apart on the inside. So yeah, whatever issues you have with your parents, I feel there's always, you have the power to be able to forgive. I mean, granted, there are more extreme situations that people have suffered as far as, what issues they've gone through with their parents, but, I don't know. I'm just kind of talking. But anyways, I think my third run-in with depression was probably after I graduated. I had a high school sweetheart, excuse me, a high school sweetheart that I dated all through senior and beyond. He was somebody that also seemed to have internal struggles as well. Him and I had a very poisonous relationship, toxic, if you will. He was physically as he was verbally abusive to me, and he was also somebody who just seemed to have his own internal struggles because, I don't know, sorry if this seems a little tough for me to talk about, yeah. But yeah, I was about 19 or so, and there was just a point in where I wanted to get out of the relationship, and I thought, I can't do this anymore. I want to help him so much, I want him to get help, and, at the time it seemed like his father was, I don't want to say ignorant, because that seems like a rude term to use, but it's like, I feel like nobody wants to believe, like, their child. As a parent, you don't want to believe, like, your child is hurting and struggling so much. It's to the point where it kind of, like, blinds you in a way, but at this point, I just couldn't do it anymore. And I broke up with him, and a week later, after having messaged him and, kind of messaging back and forth, he was trying to, of course, win me back for whatever number of times, him and I would get back together. It was that kind of relationship. That day, he was texting me, and he was, talking about suicide, and, this wasn't a new threat for him, and it wasn't unusual for him to talk and act like this. So knowing me, it's like, not this time. I'm not going to let him try to bring me back. I need to fight for myself. I need to be strong for myself, because I don't deserve this. I didn't feel like I deserved, having to be in such a relationship that was, like, so painful kind of thing. And so, he was talking about his normal suicide, he was telling me he loved me and that, don't worry, I'm just going to do everybody a favor and just end myself, just talk like that. And when my mother passed away, it was when I was in middle school during that time. And I remember that morning when I was getting up and getting ready for school. There was just a certain air, like something didn't seem right. Everything felt like cold, just something didn't seem right. And then of course we had 2 police officers come to our door, and that's how they ended up delivering the news. And that same day I felt that same air, and lo and behold, I was getting ready for work, and I get dropped off at work, and his father and his sister and her boyfriend were there. And as soon as I saw them walking up to me, I already knew. I already knew. And I can't tell you, it took me probably a little over 2 years to completely get rid of that. Just to be able to just accept that obviously it wasn't my fault, that there was nothing I could have really have done. These things happen, and everyone tells you, don't blame yourself, it's not your fault. You couldn't have done anything, and no matter what, the person, there's always going to be that feeling of what could have I done? What could have I said? If I had just taken him back, but you can't flood your mind with these thoughts, because you're just going to go crazy. And I was going crazy for that long period of time. For those 2 years, I couldn't even tell you, I always considered myself, at least at that time, a more innocent, a more naive, a more sheltered. But I became, I coped with it by being very promiscuous. I slept around. I did anything and everything in my power, except for drugs. I aside from smoking weed, whatever, I feel like that's just that's not really, but I guess if you use it as a form of coping, it's just as abusive as, say, alcohol or any kind of other substance that kind of alters you in some chemical level. But I was very promiscuous. I always had some kind of relationship, and I was very finicky. I considered myself a heartbreaker at that time, and my ways of dealing with that were not healthy ways. And I ended up, whatever relationships that I did kind of stick around with longer than, a few months, I ended up in these just abusive relationships. I don't know, touching the subject of abusive relationships, I always feel like, I see a lot of women in these types of relationships, and I see a lot of people suffer, and some people just don't understand why would anybody want to stick to it. But I feel like, the reasons why we stick to these relationships, it's not necessarily because we want to. It might derive from a deeper struggle from your childhood. You are used to these negative experiences in your life, and it's not you don't exactly choose them because you like the idea of abuse. I think it falls on a more subconscious level of what I like to call is being uncomfortably comfortable. It's because you've been in these situations. These are kind of situations that are all you know, so you subconsciously kind of gravitate towards stuff like that because you might not personally believe that you deserve a better relationship, or these better relationships are just super confusing to you because it's wait a second, what do you mean? You can shower me in gifts and you can love me and you can just be this amazing person for me, because all the relationships I know are these toxic, abusive in one level or another. And whatever you experience, with your parents growing up, that embeds it in your mind. If you had if you witnessed toxic situations between your own parents, that embeds itself in your mind, so it kind of tells you this is okay when it's not okay. And that can go both ways, whether you're a victim as a woman, as a man, whether you're a man who's abusive, whether you're a woman that's abusive, it doesn't matter, you know? I was very angry for a long time, and I was very, like, explosive anger, like 0 to 100 within seconds. Very defensive person. Even now I struggle with defensive mannerisms and demeanors. Gosh, I'm sorry if I look all sweaty. It's seriously so hot in here, and I don't want to turn the fan on, and I have no AC because I don't want the, like, the sound effects, but, you know, for me it's a lot easier now because I understand, and I've taken the time to just kind of learn myself. After my last relationship, which was about the guy that did my tattoos, if you saw my, my previous video, that wasn't a terrible relationship, and to say it was terrible would be absolutely false. Naturally, you know, you want to be angry at a breakup, or whatever, you want to always say some shit about a relationship, you know, that makes you feel better about yourself or justifies whatever bad shit that you did in the relationship. There were both parties, it's whatever, but it was in comparison to every other relationship I've had, it was like, it was good. But you know, unfortunately, a lot of my anger reflected on him, and, you know, that wasn't fair. And, you know, I'm a lot older now, and I can look back and, you know, and especially if you're caught up in those relationships, and if you're the kind of person to jump from relationship to relationship because it's what you're comfortable with. Honestly, I didn't even discover myself until I wanted to take the time to be single for myself, you know, and, you know, to self-discovery, you know, learning to love yourself, learning that who you are is okay, where you come from is okay, no matter what it is, whether you lived the supposed perfect life, or, you know, or if you've just been in one shithole, one shitstorm after another, you know. I just took the couple years it took for me to just be single, be alone, you know. Sure, I'd have companionships and whatnot, but nothing like relationship serious, and that's very important. Just taking that time of self-discovery, just finding yourself and loving yourself, and, you know, just learning to accept yourself. And, you know, that's what I ended up doing. And I'm older, I'm gonna be 26, I've been through hell and back, and all sorts of regards, and, you know, all of it was unfortunate, all of it sucked, but all of it has made me who I am today. And I have to be thankful for that. I have to be thankful for the shit that my mother made me experience, because today I just look back at her now and I just appreciate her so much, and I sympathize with the pain that she had to go through, because I'm thinking about what I've been going through and I don't like it. I've had to go through shit, and, you know, whatever she's gone through, you know, I'm not going to go into those details so much because she went through her struggles. That wasn't easy for her. And, you know, then there was my father, you know, he tried his best, you know, being a single father the entire, you know, bless him so much for that, really. You know, I'm not as religious as I used to be, or if I would even consider myself religious, but bless him. Seriously. He did what he thought was right for the time being, and he fucked up. And just like I'm probably gonna fuck up a few times with my kids, and just like you guys are, and you probably already have if you do. Not in a bad way, but I mean, you know, I feel like no matter what, you're always going to wish you could have done something differently. Whether it's with yourself, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with, you know, significant others or friends, or no matter who it might be. Anxiety is really hard to deal with, and I still struggle. Not so much with social anxiety. I know somebody had asked about, you know, social anxiety and struggling with friends. When I was younger, I was a very shy girl. You know, I got picked on, bullied in middle school. You could see my little baby's beans. Little baby toes. She's like totally dead, but yeah, I don't know where I was, but yeah. I suffered social anxiety more so as a kid because I was very shy and more sheltered, but now that I've been through, honestly, a lot of this shit that I've been through, this is what's made me confident. This is what's given me the ability to just, like, I'm not gonna fucking get walked all over or stepped on ever again. And granted, you know, when I was 23 and I was more angry, that attitude was more negative than it was positive because I was becoming more defensive. I was becoming more of a bitch. You know, I was kind of taking it out on the world kind of thing, you know, I didn't deserve this, so blah, blah, blah. So whatever kind of excuse you can think of in your head to justify your actions again. But now I'm more humble, you know. Now I would see myself as more confident. You know, I'm still struggling. I'm still, you know, trying my best to be the best me as I can, as, you know, corny as that sounds. But I can tell you, like, you can be this shy girl. You can start off as this shy, you know, very innocent, very sweet, you know, of course, you know, don't necessarily have to not be innocent anymore. Please do, if you want to retain that part of yourself. But, I mean, I'm just saying, it's like you can go from this seemingly hopeless person, seemingly like you have no idea what to do for yourself. You can build. You can become confident. You know, you're gonna be okay. I don't know if any of the stuff that I've told you has helped in any way, but, you know, I just want to reassure you that it'll all be okay. It doesn't seem like it today. It might not seem like it tomorrow or next month, but I promise you it's gonna be okay. And you'll be okay. Life is what you make of it. And your life is what you make of your own. There was definitely a couple-week period where I felt like it was just very hard to do, to get up, to feel motivated, to do anything. I felt like, you know, I was leaning a little bit more on, you know, wanting to drink and stuff, and that's a scary feeling. But I can promise you there are breathing exercises. Probably my favorite thing that I like to do, that I think I read, or somebody may have shown it to me, but there's like this exercise, there's breathing exercises you can do, and my favorite thing to do if like I'm caught in a moment where it just feels like you're in this negative loop, where you're just like, no matter what, you're trying to derail your thoughts from this negativity, but you just can't. And that's often what happens with me if I'm just like, I just hyper focus on all the wrong things. I was told that you can just look at your surroundings. I don't know if it's exactly in this order, but, you know, name 5 things you can visually see. Name 4 things you can physically feel. Name, you know, 3 things you can smell. So, you know, like, look at my little stuffies, like, you know, just basically anything, just like feeling, and just like, it's essentially a way to just distract your mind. And that's essentially what you need to do, is distract your mind. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I hope this isn't just like random blabbing and whatever, but I guess I'm just gonna finish that there. If you have any questions, if you have any things you want to talk to me about, ask me. Don't be afraid to. I'm here. You know, I'm pretty sure I've talked about that at least 20 times in this video, but I seriously cannot express enough. Just, that's all I want to be for you guys. Is if somebody, like, if you're not looking up to me, if you're not wanting to be my friend, whatever, I just want to be somebody that is here. A beacon of light, a beacon of hope, something. You know, friend, you know, the person that, you know, you don't feel like you have in your life. Just know that I'm here. And that I seriously love you guys so much, and I appreciate you so much. You're gonna be okay. You babies are gonna be okay. Thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time.